If you're having problems with your septic system and you're tired of spending so much money each year to have it pumped, then SeptiClean is the answer for you. SeptiClean is an advanced specially formulated blend of bacteria used in the treatment of home and commercial septic systems. The breakdown of waste in your system relies on biological activity of naturally occurring bacteria. SeptiClean restores the natural biological process in your septic system and boosts the existing biological activity. SeptiClean is completely safe on all plumbing and can help prevent expensive emergencies in pumping. SeptiClean has approximately 6 to 100 times the bacteria count of other leading off-the-shelf brands in a 1-year supply. SeptiClean comes in a water-soluble pack, which you flush down the toilet once a month with no mess or stress. Save time, money, and maintenance on your septic system. Find SeptiClean at Emporium True Value Hardware on Main Street in Sag Harbor or visit micro-tab.com. That's micro-tabb.com. Micro-tabb.com.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. Now, you've probably heard of public officials clashing behind closed doors, but it's rare to see a confrontation spill out so openly, especially at an event as high profile as the New York City Marathon. And yet on Sunday, right in front of crowds of runners and spectators, interim NYPD Commissioner Tom Donlin and Chief of Staff Tariq Shepard reportedly got into a heated argument. Things apparently escalated to the point that NYPD Chief of Department Jeffrey Madry had to physically pull them apart. According to law enforcement sources, the scuffle started when Donlin was posing for a photo with the NYPD's running club. When Shepard tried to join in, Donlin allegedly nudged him away, sparking a verbal argument. The two reportedly clashed over the topic of officer deployments, with Shepard's apparent promotion to Chief of Staff already being a sore spot within the department, and this public dispute comes just months after a major corruption probe rocked the NYPD's leadership, leading former Commissioner Edward Caban to resign in September after federal agents seized his phone. Now, Mayor Adams appointed Donlin, a man with FBI experience, to try to regain the public's trust. And yet, here we are, barely 2 months later, watching this embarrassing display in full view of the public. In response, the NYPD released a statement calling it a moment of passion, downplaying the incident as a brief disagreement that was promptly discussed and resolved. They even added that this sort of passion for the job is what keeps New Yorkers safe. But let's be honest, this is the last thing the NYPD needs right now. We've seen 3 different commissioners under Mayor Adams, which is unprecedented for a single term. The last one left under a cloud of federal investigation, and the current one, the guy who was supposed to clean up the department's image, is now entangled in this public spat. Look, I don't claim to know the full story here or what exactly sparked the fight, but with the NYPD's top brass already facing scrutiny, wouldn't you think they'd be on their best behavior? It doesn't exactly inspire confidence when the leaders of the largest police force in the country are seen bickering in public. The public impression here isn't one of passionate commitment, it's one of disarray. And that's not just a PR issue. It's a question of leadership stability in a time when New Yorkers are already concerned about rising crime and the city's safety. It's time for NYPD leadership to get their act together. This kind of disorganization is unsettling to the public, and it's downright embarrassing to watch. New Yorkers need steady, capable leadership, not another episode in a never-ending drama.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
Last week was our first playoff game, and my plaque psoriasis was so itchy under all my gear. Sometimes just thinking about scratching could take me out of the moment. And then my doctor told me I could get clearer skin with a pill called Otezla.
Otezla apremilast is a prescription medicine used to treat adult patients with plaque psoriasis for whom phototherapy or systemic therapy is appropriate. Otezla can help you get clearer skin after just 4 months.
Okay, ready for the next game. Talking to my doctor about a pill was a total game changer.
Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla. Call 1-844-4-OTESLA or visit Otezla.com for prescribing info about cost, and more.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. You've probably heard the saying, just keep swimming. And that's exactly what a little group of goldfish in Bedstuy are doing. Thanks to some dedicated locals, let me take you to the corner of Hancock Street and Tompkins Avenue, where the Bedstuy Fish Pond has made its comeback after the city cemented it just over a week ago. This pond isn't your typical backyard water feature. It's a homemade community aquarium, originally created when a few creative locals added goldfish to a puddle near a leaky fire hydrant. The humble fish pond quickly became a neighborhood sensation, complete with a solar-powered filter, a heater, a tiled tank, and even a little collection of figurines and rocks. It's been so popular that it even has its own website, newsletter, and social media accounts with thousands of followers. People love it, and so does the community. But here's the catch. When the fire hydrant leak was finally fixed, the pond went dry, and tragically, dozens of goldfish didn't survive. In response, the organizers tried to make the pond more sustainable, digging it deeper and installing a professional-grade lining. Then, early on October 25th, the city came and cemented over it, citing pedestrian safety concerns. Yet, just days later, the Bedstuy Fish Pond is back, now relocated to a tree pit next door, safely out of the way. Let's hear from one neighborhood resident on the pond's return.
It's cool that they were able to start it up again, and it looks, frankly, much nicer and more involved.
So what's my take on this? I think this is certainly an improvement, and I applaud the good intentions and dedication of the folks who made this happen. It's clear that adults and kids alike are enjoying this unique addition to the neighborhood, but I have to be honest, I'm still not sure this isn't a form of animal cruelty. Let's face it, a tree pit on a Brooklyn street is not the most conventional or secure home for fish. I'm not entirely convinced that it's the ideal environment for them, or if this is, how fish are supposed to be cared for. That being said, if these community organizers can work with animal welfare experts to ensure that this setup doesn't harm the fish, then I'm all for it, staying where it is. We could use more unique and community-driven initiatives like this in our neighborhood. It's a quirky, creative addition that brings people together, and in a city as big and often impersonal as New York, these little pockets of whimsy can make a huge difference. So hats off to the organizers for bringing a little joy to Bedstuy. If they can sort out the animal care aspect, then I say let the fish swim on.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
Choosing a bottled Starbucks Frappuccino drink that's all flavor and just 100 calories? Easy. Choosing between creamy vanilla, double chocolate, and sea salt caramel flavors? A little harder. Try the delicious new Starbucks Frappuccino light drinks. Look for them wherever you buy groceries. Start with Starbucks coffee.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
It's been a beautiful fall in New York City. Sunny skies, warm days, and those postcard-worthy trees in Central Park. But this weather comes at a cost. This weekend, Mayor Eric Adams announced a drought watch for New York City due to the exceptionally dry conditions we've been experiencing. We haven't had significant rain all of October, which marks the city's second longest dry spell on record since 1869. Mayor Adams is is urging us to conserve water, asking city agencies to implement water savings plans, and encouraging New Yorkers to think about how much water they're using at the tap. Now, there's no mandatory restriction yet. A drought watch, as it's called, is the lowest of 4 levels in New York's drought classification system, but it's still a warning. If we don't change our behavior now, it could mean more severe water shortages in the future and eventually mandatory water restrictions. With conditions like these, small changes, like turning off the faucet when brushing teeth or fixing leaky pipes, can add up quickly. But here's where I think Mayor Adams can take his drought advisory further. In my view, he's got a real opportunity to make this moment memorable and to raise awareness in a big way. Some of you may remember when Ed Koch, another New York City mayor, faced a similar drought situation. Koch didn't just ask New Yorkers to conserve water, he made a memorable public service announcement featuring children, and it left a lasting impression. Kids brought the message home to their families, and it became something people actually talked about and remembered. In fact, let's play a little clip of that Koch PSA from back in the day.
Turn the water off when you're brushing your teeth. You better listen. And it's up to you kids, because I've appointed every kid in New York deputy mayor in charge of saving water. You gotta be tough. It's up to all of us to save water and to keep New York wet.
Keep New York wet! Save water! Ask your sister to sit in a half a tub of water. You've just saved over 10 gallons of water. Turn the water off when your mother's brushing her teeth. You'll save over a gallon of water.
Opening a hydrant isn't funny. It can waste over 1 million gallons of water a day.
Don't let the water run while your father is shaving. This will save over 2 gallons of water.
Tell your brother to get out of the shower. Shorter showers save 3 to 5 gallons of water.
Keep New York wet!
It's simple but effective. Kids and water conservation might seem like an odd pairing, but it worked. Koch made conserving water something everybody, young and old, felt a part of. And here's the thing. If Mayor Adams created a similar campaign, maybe even featuring children again, it could capture the public's attention in the same way. Right now, Adams is in need of a narrative shift. And this could be the narrative shift that he needs.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Folks, let's talk about bureaucracy gone bad. In New York State, a beloved pet squirrel named P Nut, who captured the hearts of hundreds of thousands on social media, was recently taken from his home and euthanized by the Department of Environmental Conservation. Why? Because P Nut, despite being domesticated and adored by his caretaker, Mark Longo, was technically a wild animal and by law illegal to keep as a pet. Now, maybe you could argue the rules are the rules, but let's unpack what really happened here. P Nut was raised by Longo, who rescued him after his mother was tragically hit by a car. This wasn't a case of a random squirrel in a backyard cage like George on Seinfeld. P Nut was part of Longo's life for 7 years. He was treated like family, had an Instagram account, wore tiny costumes, and entertained countless followers online. Longo even started a small sanctuary in upstate New York inspired by P Nut's journey. He's not your average squirrel, and he was certainly no threat to anyone. Now let's address what the DEC claimed. They argued that seizing and euthanizing P Nut was a public health measure. The justification? A risk of rabies and concerns over an anonymous report about potentially unsafe housing. But if rabies was the concern, couldn't P Nut have been monitored, vaccinated, or released into a sanctuary if the law absolutely forbade him as a pet? After all, Longo wasn't running a shady operation. He was in the process of getting P Nut registered as an educational animal. He was trying to do things the right way. What makes this case so maddening is that euthanizing P Nut seems excessive, thoughtless. We live in a time when bureaucracy often chooses the easy road, following protocol to the letter without considering the human or animal side of the story. And here, the DEC's lack of flexibility and empathy really hits hard. P Nut could have been returned to his owner with guidance, housed in a sanctuary, or given other options. Instead, they chose the most final, irreversible route. People are fired up about this. Even the great William Shatner was commenting about how outrageous this was. This isn't just a case of one squirrel. It's a reflection of how distant and unfeeling bureaucracies can become when the bottom line becomes, well, that's the rule. We lose something essential when compassion, common sense, and even a hint of humanity get tossed aside. And I know that people are really fired up about this, and I absolutely understand why. I hope we can do something to make sure things like this don't happen again in the future.
Beam me up!
To be continued.